Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, hi, my name is Neha. I make video on tech and my life in the UK. In today's video, we are gonna learn about the difference between two hooks, which is useTransition and useDeferredvalue. I have already made the detailed video, separate videos on both of these hooks. If you haven't watched, I will drop the link in the description box. If you have already watched those videos, then you might be questioning that what is the difference between these two hooks. And today's video is all about that. So let's start today's video. We will start first with understanding at high level what these hooks actually are, and then we will go in the differences. So both of these hooks are here to help the developers to do the performance optimization of your app, improve the user experience of the app. Now, the goal is same, but the way they do it is slightly different. So in useTransition, what we do is we deal with states. We deal with the set of states and we tell the React that which particular state update can wait. We can basically telling them that this particular thing is not urgent, so please give it the least priority. Meanwhile, keep updating or keep the UI responsive for the rest of the activities. Once that is done, once the main thread is free, then you can take this particular logic, which is non-urgent, and then you can run it or make the state update. So in useTransition, we are dealing with states and we are telling that which is non-urgent update or state update that can wait. In useDeferredvalue, we take a value. So based on the value, what we do is we tell React that this particular thing can wait for some time. So please delay it. So it's not about urgent or non-urgent. It is more about that we are taking a value and we are delaying it. Now, if you are still scratching your head and you are saying both look same, I get you. So let's get into the differences to understand this. So as I told you that useTransition work on state, this is the first difference. So it work on state set of states update. However, useDeferredvalue work on just value. It doesn't deal with states. Now what would be the performance impact of this? The performance impact of useTransition would be higher because we have multiple states and re-renders. So here we have higher impact of the performance. In this case, we have the performance optimization will happen only on one computation because we are dealing with only one value. So please remember this. Now, if we will talk about the level of control we are getting, here we are using start transition. And in this hook, we are passing the logic which we are marking as not urgent. So the control we have higher here. However, here we are just using useDeferredvalue. We are passing a value and rest React take care of. So we don't have much control here. It's more of React taking care of everything automatically. Here we are marking which particular state update or state we want to mark as a non-urgent. Okay. So this is the high level differences between useTransition and useDeferredvalue. Only remember that useTransition work on set of state updates and re-render. However, useDeferredvalue work only on a single value. When you remember this, rest of these two differences will be obvious for you because here we are in useTransition, we are working on set of state updates, which means the performance would be higher because multiple states and re-renders can be optimized, and we are using start transition to mark as non-urgent. So obviously we have more control here. We are telling them that which update is not urgent. In useDeferredvalue, single value, so only one computation optimization would be there, and React take care of most of the delay part. We just mark the value deferred. That's it. Now, how this actually gonna work if we are gonna take the example of the same typing one. So the problem statement which I took in useTransition and useDeferredvalue is typing in input and filtering. So that same example, if we are gonna use useTransition and useDeferredvalue, then how the flow would be. So first let's see with useTransition. So the user, if in the input, if user will type NE, what will happen? The state will get updated because we have NE here. So this is urgent. We are not doing anything here. It's a normal JavaScript. However, when the filter logic, which will take this state NE and filter the data and show it on list display, show it on the screen, because we are doing start transition here of filter logic. What we are doing is we are marking as non-urgent, so it will be delayed, but in the background the filter logic would be running once, and in the foreground rest of the work is happening. So our user is still interacting with the our input box, or if there are rest of the state updates are happening and the UI is getting changed, that is happening. Once our main thread is free, then it is gonna display the list, and there would be a after some time our result will be displayed. So this is how the use transition work. I will repeat again. User has typed NE in input. Instantly state will get updated because this is urgent. The state got updated and it will go to the filter logic to filter the list. However, we have marked it as start transition, which means non-urgent. So the filter logic will run in the background. It will not disturb anything. At that time, our foreground is still responsive. User can still type on the input. Things are working fine. The user will not feel that something is lagging or blocking. And once our main thread is free, it will display the list in our screen. So this is how use transition work. Now, if the same thing we have to do with the useDeferredValue, then what will happen? So user will type NE. Now the state here so state will get updated. Again, this is urgent. But now what will happen? We don't have start transition here. The filter logic is still here. Now how it is gonna happen? So this state NE, basically this is for us is the deferred value. So this is gonna be the, let me write here. So here this will pass as a deferred value. Now because this is a deferred value, what will happen? The propagation of this value, this state to the filter logic will be delayed. So here delayed propagation of NE, because there is a delay happening here because of this deferred value, the list display will be delayed to the screen, slightly delay on the screen. I will repeat again. In useDeferredValue, what will happen? The user has typed NE, state will get update. However, because now this state has been marked as passed in useDeferredValue, what will happen? The propagation of this NE to the filter logic will be delayed, and as a result the list display on the screen will also delayed. So this is how the same example is gonna work in use transition and use deferred value. Here the things are happening in background. We are dealing with state. However, here we are just dealing with one value. Here what is happening is in use transition we are marking filter logic as non-urgent. The logic is still running in background. Here the logic is not running. It will be delayed for some time and then it will be shown in our UI. I hope this video was helpful for you, and after understanding all this is clear use transition and use deferred value. If you have any comment, anything, please let me know in the comment section if you like the video, and I would very appreciate if you share this video in your network, subscribe to my channel. It will be a very motivating thing for me. So thank you. I will see you in the next video.